The Cuyuna Lakes trail system is one of the longest and highest ranked in the state of Minnesota. It has everything from tech to flow trails for riders of all skill sets. It's also home to one of my favorite trails called Timbershaft. The trail is only 129 feet long with 10 feet of climbing, but some have called it the most difficult trail in the entire state. It was first described to me as a trials trail. The trail starts out pretty tame with some short ledges which can be overcome using a simple wheel lift. It's crucial that you keep constant speed through this section, because after this last ledge comes the first rock garden. To get through it, I like to keep right because it's smoother, and it sets you up perfectly for the next ledge. Before the hardest part of this section, I use the smooth area just before the ledge to gain momentum, which allows me to get up it. After that, it's a straight shot to the end of this rock garden. Keep speed from the slab at the end of the rock garden, and you should have no problem getting up and over this first skinny. After that is a smooth section which will allow you to switch to an easier gear because this next section is very technical. This section people often skip because of its difficulty and because it's an optional line. It starts with a steep rocky descent with a sharp right turn at the bottom, which I do by relying on my trial skills. You'll want to make sure that your bike's in line with this next feature so that you can get up this ledge. I take the right line because it gets me past the rock quicker and gives me more time to set up for the next feature. I use an endo to swing my back end around, which allows me to squeeze through these rocks. After that, it mellows out for what I personally consider to be the hardest part of the trail. There's some more tight turns and a couple rocks, which I use a simple wheel lift to get over. Then we get to the hardest part of the trail. I take the outside line near the cliff, which allows me to get the speed I need to hop over it. And that's the end of this technical section. It now mellows out with the smooth climb to the top of Timbershaft. Take this time to reclaim your energy because you'll need it for what's left to come. Next there are some boulders to weave through, followed by another skinny. The most important part is to almost manual off the cliff and play it off like nothing happened. At this part, I like to ride up and over the mound to the right because it sets me up to use a rock dodge technique on the next corner. As you can see, my front wheel stays to the right while my rear wheel is on the left. At slow speeds, small wrecks like these can throw you off your line, and might cost a dab if you're trying to ride the trail clean. Once you get past the rocks, it's time for the descent, which, like the beginning, is full of ledges. You don't need much speed to do these drops, just make sure you get your weight back as you roll over them. Now we come to another challenging section. You need to dump all the speed you picked up on the downhill and make a sharp left turn between the two rocks. This spot is really tight, so be mindful of pedal strikes. Now we come to the most challenging skinny of this trail. There are two other lines that skip it and include more rock gardens, but I personally like skinnies, so that's the way I chose to go. Finally, at the end is the longest stretch of rock garden. For this part, I like to keep a low gear and take it slow because there's a ton of spots to mess up on. Over some of the bigger rocks, I will ratchet my cranks and do a couple hops to realign my bike. Now we're at the end with the final skinny. Get ready to fist bump your buddies because you just rode Timbershaft.